P.O.P podcast, let's go. The P.O.P podcast, let's go. The P.O.P podcast starts now.
Hello and welcome to the P.O.P podcast. I'm Jason Sirotin, joined by my co-host Scott Haley. Scott, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Jason. You know what? I had one of those days. Today was kind of rough until I saw you on the screen wearing that outfit.
I've got
I want to give you some credit. I live in Minnesota, and there's a lot of orange and camouflage in Minnesota, but I don't think is that a camouflage hat or a Hawaiian hat? What do we got
this was
going on
actually
there?
bought at the Coca-Cola Museum in Atlanta. So it's like a floral camouflage hat. And this is a Nike limited edition skulls. I don't know. This is my neck is injured, my C7 is crushed, and I can't put on a button up today. It's just not happening.
Yeah. Well, you made my day with that outfit, man.
The reason I kind of hit you up and was like, hey, can we chat real quick? It's because somebody was asking me a question and I didn't know how to answer it. And so I was like, oh, actually, this would be a really good podcast. But P.O.P, for those who don't know, Scott is a managing director, main dude over at P.O.P. He is the man over there. And I just wanted to know, like, I know you're not a DSO, right? Well, that's clear. But are you a buying group?
That's a great question. Every call that I get, a lot of time, everyone comes in initially. Those calls that we talk about, people reach out to me like, hey, I'm interested in P.O.P. I think everyone kind of comes in initially thinking they're like, I'm calling this guy because he can be a hookup to help me save money. And there's truth to that. But as we've grown here and we've become what we've become, I would say we're not a buying group. So let's be clear about that. What we are is a network of private practice orthodontists. I would say we're more like a study club that also happens to have some great agreements in place with some very, very nice vendor partners. So there's a difference there. So when we go out to look at our agreements, we don't have, 200 different vendors on that we have agreements with. We keep a very tight formulary. We function a lot like a DSO in the sense that when we go find vendor partners, they're limited, they're chosen, and then, we hopefully are driving home the best price because we have kept it up, we don't have like a slew of offerings. Now, for some doctors, that's not a great fit if they're trying to come into the group to save money. If they don't, if they're like, hey, this is my bracket, this is my aligner, this is where I get my gloves, and they don't want to switch to the vendors we have, then maybe we're not the right fit for everyone. But P.O.P does so much more than, yes, it's great. We can save you money, right? I'm confident of that. But like, we also host practice management events. We also have virtual study clubs that the doctors are in. We also are having a killer meeting that we're our second meeting that we've ever done will be this at the end of January here. So as the four founding doctors, Dr. Nord always says like, look, I mean, we're pretty confident we're going to save you money, but you're going to make and save way more money by networking with the doctors that are in this group and sharing ideas, like the things that we've been talking about on the last couple of podcasts, like seeing how doctors are doing things in their practice that can, have an immediate impact to your bottom line and help you grow your business.
When you're giving these, I think study club is the perfect way to think about it for those who haven't. Like, that's how I kind of good at. You have meetings, you're giving events, there's pearls of wisdom, the docs are talking to each other, everybody's connected. It seemed like that over like that DSO model, or OSO model, like by a lot. What do you think is compelling people Is it that like it's a mixture of all the things? You guys are growing so rapidly. What do you think is like
Yeah.
driving people to be like, oh, is it because they looked at DSOs and were like, yeah, no, this isn't for me, but I still need this?
Well, no, I mean, I like to think that's a great question. Like, we don't hide from, we're a network of private practice doctors. First of all, people aren't customers of P.O.P. Let's be clear, you're a member of P.O.P. Like, you come in and we announce to everybody, like, hey, we're welcoming Jason, our new doctor in New Hampshire who went to, Harvard and Harvard, right? You like that? And so, I mean, everyone knows who's in the group, right? They're connected. There's a sense of community, all those things, right? But what we're trying to build out here, Jason, is like, can a group of, now we're over 225 private practices, can that group build out some of the things and the advantages that DSOs have? And DSOs and OSOs do have some really great things going from them. They get together. The doctors in those groups get together, and those doctors in those groups also have great purchasing agreements and all those things. So um, we're trying to do that with doctors that are independent.
Maybe you can answer some of these questions. Why do you think patient experience is not just a clinical concern, but a business driver?
I mean, it's the reason that these doctors get. I mean, if I mean, I've never owned an orthodontic practice, but I gotta believe the biggest driver inside these practices is if your kids go to the local orthodontist on the street, your family goes there, you have a great experience. You tell three of your friends that that's where your kids went, right? Like having that positive experience, internal referrals is probably the most powerful thing that happens inside these practices.
What's changing in the orthodontic industry, and how do you think practices should be preparing?
Everything that we've talked about in these last couple months, the the doctors and the practices that have the ability to implement technologies not intelligently are going to be the ones that thrive, right? Like there's so much out there, and you think about it from these doctors perspectives, right? Like you can work with Scott Hansen at Lead Sigma and have an AI agent answer the phone for you, right? Or you could use DM. You could be using twin brackets and upgrade to self-ligating brackets. You can take your aligner starts from 10% of your starts to 40% of your starts. So like, but throwing money at technology and not getting what we talked about, the three times, two times more efficiencies out of it ends up hurting you if you're not strategic and smart about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, what good is, we'll use something that everyone is pretty familiar with, especially the doctors. Like, I'm a firm believer that self ligating technologies make your practice more efficient. That's all well and good as long as you're aware that it's saving you appointments, decreasing treatment time, and you're using those saved appointments, decreased treatment time to actually make your practice more profitable. And you're doing that by cutting down the number of days you're working or the number of people that you have employed in the practice.
When you say premier orthodontic partners, oh,
Practices.
sorry. You say premier orthodontic practice. What exactly does that mean to you? Where did that name come from? What does it mean?
I think when I look at practices, and I've been in hundreds of practices across the country, and you can take a market, and I heard your business partner Savvy talking about this on another podcast, is like you're not competing with the world, right? In marketing, digital marketing, you're competing with the 20 miles around you and who's ever doing orthodontics in those 20 miles. What's interesting, having my experiences and what I've been able to experience in this business, is I get to walk into that market and walk into all of those practices. And you can do that over the course of a day or 2 days. And if you've been doing this a while, there's no secrets on who the thriving practices are, right? So at the end of the day, in a market, the top 10% is always the top 10%, right? And they're always doing the same things. And, those are the things we're striving for. And I think the doctors in our group are striving for. And having the free choice to make those decisions for yourself. Because, you look at this business and what is success to an orthodontist? Like for some orthodontists, it's doing 1,500 starts and being, having 4 offices and 2 associates or something like that. But success can be defined also as an orthodontist that has an awesome practice, an awesome team, a great lifestyle, right? Like it doesn't always have to be about money or the volume that you're doing, right? So, that's the beauty of this industry. The doctors get to determine that.
Yeah. It is kind of the freedom that comes with it. What are the signs that you think a practice is ready to grow, and what are maybe the red flags that it isn't ready to grow?
Well, what do you mean by grow? I mean, like, I think every practice would say that they're ready or wanting to grow. Um, I think, one of the last episodes, David was talking about uh, production better be outpacing collections, right? But I don't know. That's a good question. It's like, I think it all comes down to, I think the doctors having the ability, it's like all of us in our businesses or even in our lives personally, like, can a practice or a practice owner, can they articulate what their goals and their visions are, right? I think when that's fuzzy for people and they don't know what they want their practice to be or what their vision is for their practice, then that's usually the ones that are struggling. And that's just human nature, right?
We've talked a lot over the last year and a half about, DSOs, private equity. Where do you stand now on private ownership versus DSO and PE consolidation? Like, has anything
Ooh,
shifted? Like
yeah.
the environment is so different from where we started.
Yeah. I mean, I think at first, when we first started talking about a year and a half ago, I was pretty hesitant to take a firm stand. And I'm a little bit, I'm empathetic, sympathetic, understanding if a doctor sells their practice to a DSO. I get it. I get why it sounds super attractive to them. I would argue that the financials of selling to a DSO or an OSO are probably not what you think they are. And, and maybe call me if I'm wrong or whatever, call me out if you want. So I don't buy that the financials are that great. Like, I honestly don't. I don't buy the 8 times, especially when you have to work there for 5 years at a reduce and you lose the tax advantages. But there's going to be times where maybe joining a DSO or an OSO is the right fit for the doctor because they feel like they needed that. And who am I to judge, right? Like that's their decision. I think I would always tell a doctor to do their homework, right? Like certainly talk to people that have not, don't talk to the people that have just done it by the group that hands you, talk to these doctors that they're incentivized to tell you that it's awesome. But yeah, I would just say do your homework. It's not for everybody. They're not going to pick everybody. I mean, we've heard that over and over again. But I think at the end of the day, talking to doctors, I think, especially the ones in our group, there's most of them wish they would have jumped into private practice ownership sooner rather than later. And a lot of them worked as associates in DSOs or they worked for someone for way too long. So the only thing I would say is like, hey, you're 35 years old. You only have so much time to have the greatest years of owning your own practice. Like you wait 2 years, that that has a pretty substantial financial impact. I think the thing that probably people don't realize is that, from what I can tell at least, the doctors that own their own practices have so much freedom.
Yep.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Jason, you work with it in your
Yep.
business, right? Like, it's unbelievable.
I
And
mean, if I knew what I knew now, I might have tried to be a dentist or a doc or well, an orthodontist, not a dentist.
yeah, I mean, we all say that, but it's hard. I mean, give all of those people that are listening to this. I mean, I always tell residents all the time, like, they're unicorns. The fact that they, or all of you doctors out there, like, you're already unicorns. I mean, my gosh, you went to school for how long? You're at the top of your class in undergrad, probably your high school valedictorian, right? I mean,
Probably true,
it's
right?
just not that easy,
Permanent
right?
overachievers.
Yes,
And some
it's
of the
just
best
unbelievable.
attitudes. That's what I have always loved about orthodontists is I think it's because of that freedom that they have that they're happy and they're generally easy to deal with.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Incredible profession. I feel very fortunate that the bulk of my working years has been in this space. It's been an incredible gift.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot worse places to be. Well, Scott, thank you so much for taking time to hit some questions with me today. I'm going to give you a half hour of your time back. I want to thank everybody who is listening to the show. Make sure you go and check out P.O.P. Go to pop-ortho.com. Make sure you click on the schedule an appointment button at the top right corner. And that's where you can click on Scott's Calendly and you'll be able to chat with Scott about anything, right, Scott? How much time do they get with you? How much time does it take?
It's scheduled for 30 minutes, but I'll talk to anyone about anything. I mean, you know, and I think what people got to realize, like, this isn't like some polished. I mean, I'm going to tell you what we do, but I'm also really just excited to learn about you and your practice, where you're at. Um, I'm pretty, I'll tell a doctor if I don't think they're a good, if they're coming to save money and we talk about our vendor offering, and I mean, and that's the only reason. And we go through the vendors and there's not enough savings for them, and they're not interested in practice management events, and they're not interested in networking with other doctors. I'll just be like, hey, I can't save you enough money to make this a good fit. Like, this isn't like, going back to the private equity thing, Jason. Like, we're not owned by private equity. It's four doctors, me, and a group of 200 orthodontists. We're just looking for people that want to do something cool with us. And that's what it's all about.
And it's real easy to schedule an appointment. And look, you're not wasting anything by talking to Scott. You'll at least make a new friend in the orthodontic space. So you're not missing out on everything. So
Yeah.
go to pop-ortho.com, click that schedule an appointment button and schedule an intake call and get the journey started. And if you're looking for marketing, make sure you go to brainbitescreative.com, click on the contact us button, fill out the form, and Caroline will get you a free digital marketing analysis. And we're not talking about a very simple, this is an in-depth analysis that is going to tell you so much information about your practice that even if you don't use BrainBites, you can use the information internally or share it with your current agency. We're just all about getting you the information that you need to be successful. I want to thank Scott.
Hey, I got to give a plug here to Brain Bites.
Yeah,
Sorry.
please.
I know I'm going off script here. So Brain Bites helps us with some projects at P.O.P. And Carolyn, Savvy, yourself, you're unbelievable, right? But your team that does the implementation, a shout out to Olivia, ridiculous. And I've had a couple website companies I've worked with, but like, they're unbelievable. They're like on it. They're on it and they're kind. Just can't say enough good things about our experience with you guys. So thank you.
I really appreciate that. Yeah. Savvy, Olivia, Caroline, the whole team at Brain Bites. They're just lovely people who really want to help. It's not about the money. It's about helping you have a better practice and experience. Everything else will come. Scott, thank you so much for your time today and the kind words. On behalf of the P.O.P podcast, I'm Jason Sirotin, and we will see you next time.
P.O.P. podcast. Let's go. The P.O.P. P.O.P. Podcast.